Hey everybody, back with a new episode of Downton Abbey. Last episode, Mary broke it off with Lord Gillingham, even though he didn't seem to accept it. I hope that doesn't matter. I hope he just, goes away. But we'll see if anything starts up with Mr. Blake, but he knows about it now. An undercover cop followed Anna when she was visiting the scene of the crime, so now she looks suspicious. What a disaster. Thomas is injecting himself. I couldn't read the pamphlet or whatever it was, so I don't know what he's doing to himself, but it can't be good. And I know Miss Baxter is trying to help him. Hopefully she can, because he does not need to be doing whatever it is he's doing. Daisy's coming along with her studies, putting it to use, helping Miss Patmore try to clear her nephew's name. Miss Bunting and Lord Grantham got into it. I don't know if... He never seemed to get that upset about Tom, but I don't know if I remember that well how he reacted to him in the earlier seasons. But he sure did explode. And she likes to push his buttons. But I'm hoping both of them can kind of come to a happy middle with kind of just coexisting. But, maybe not. Lord Grantham is willing to build on their land. But, he's always been decent about things. But it sounds like he's just going to be a landlord. A literal landlord. And fuck that. But I don't think he's going to, sell once he builds. So, hopefully he'll keep it affordable, but I don't really like the idea when I really think about it. Just on principle. People should be allowed to own and not just pay in perpetuity. Edith still can't see her daughter. I don't know what she's going to do. Rose is going to stay. Her dad is getting divorced. So I'm glad she's still going to stick around. And Mr. Breaker's still hanging around with Lady Cora. I don't know if anything's going to come out of that. Lord Grantham doesn't like it, but... Isabel got proposed to, and the Dowager is helping the prince that she once had a little thing for, trying to help him find his wife, the princess. So we'll see what's going on with them. So let's get back into it.
What do you mean a man's opened a colony in Essex?
Not that sort of colony, Mamma. It's for people who want to take all their clothes off.
In Essex? Isn't it terribly damp?
Would it make a difference?
Oh, yes, if you had no clothes on. Well, I think it's a bad idea.
Got some good news for a change. An old aunt's died. No, that's not good news, but she made old bones.
Which is the main thing.
Well, the point is, she's left me a bit of money.
Oh.
It's a few £100, more than I've ever saved.
And you want my advice on what to do with the inheritance? Is that it?
It is.
You'd do better asking Mr. Branson's advice.
Oh.
Or Dr. Clarkson's.
She's asking mine.
But we live so out of the way here. You knew I'd bring her back. I feared it. And I still feel very sorry for poor Mrs. Schroeder. I wrote to her. She told me she's adopted another baby. Then she has solved her problem.
That's
But
good.
the question remains, have you solved yours?
No.
How is Miss Bunting? Still teaching Daisy downstairs?
She is. But don't worry. I won't ask her to join us in the future.
No?
Aura would
Never?
overrule me in a moment if she thought it important to you.
Do you wish to see her live a life devoid of industry and moral worth?
I do not.
And when the glitter is tarnished, you know what then? A hollow existence in a large and drafty house.
What if she loves him?
Bores her to death.
I've got to get the dinner started on top of everything else.
Yes, of course.
So go. You
Remember
bet.
Why does everyone talk as if we don't live in the modern world?
You don't agree with that, then?
Kicking and screaming.
Does the king not live in the world of today?
No.
Does Mr. Sargent not paint modern pictures? Does Mr. Kipling not write modern books?
By the way, I'd like to catch the 10 o'clock train tomorrow. I'm dining with Mr. Blake, and I don't want to be in a
Oh,
rush.
are you?
Will we stay at Lady Rosamond's even though she's here?
She doesn't mind. She's told Mead.
Will you see Lord Gillingham?
I don't think so.
I'm not going to pretend I haven't enjoyed knowing you. In fact, I'm relieved to know I'm not the only socialist left on this earth.
I am so sorry.
But maybe we should call it a day before one of us gets hurt.
You have no reason to believe that Bates was anywhere further south than York.
No reason at all.
Can we let it
I
go?
enjoy getting to know each other better. We both have an inkling that my maid Collins is on the way out. Oh, I do hope not. No, I don't mean she's dying. I mean she's on her way out of my house.
Oh.
She keeps talking about her mother being infirm. But I'm infirm. Why doesn't she think about...
Are you?
You're as infirm as Windsor Castle. And why does Spratt mind particularly?
Never gonna fall.
Because he likes things to be just so.
And you like Mr. Green?
Yes, I did. Very much.
He wasn't so fond of your husband.
Well, there's no accounting for taste.
Ah,
Don't go away, Mrs. Bates. You've said you'll be in London. I have no objection. But don't go away.
Of course, we should all be putting money into building. Fortunes will be made over the next few years.
Atticus Aldridge. At your service.
That doesn't sound very Russian.
We won't call Aldridge back there.
I think I may have a solution to your problem.
It's good to hear.
Why not invest in the building trade?
Don't let Daisy give up her studies. She's got potential.
What's going on here?
All sorts. Mr. Carson's giving me investment advice, and Miss Bunting's leaving Downton because Mr. Branson won't stick up for her.
Well, that seems to cover it.
Why do they keep questioning Mr. and Mrs. Bates?
Who says they do?
This house has no secrets.
Then I suggest
got a few.
you ask Mr. Viner.
I may just do that.
Mr. Branson!
tell it. Tell him she's leaving.
Oh, Daisy? What can I do for you?
You can do something for yourself. You belong with us. We're the future, they're the past.
Ooh, tell it. Tell it
Daisy.
true, Daisy.
What are you doing here?
Arrow? Are you quite well?
No.
Coulson, have you been overworking him?
Not that I'm aware, your ladyship.
Manners and tradition are all very well, but once they start to control us, they've outlived their usefulness.
Which they
I think
have.
there are far more important things to worry about than whether or not Carson minds serving cocktails.
I don't like to put my money into something I don't understand.
Then why did you ask him?
Because he's a man, I suppose.
I'm not sure that's a good enough reason.
It's not.
Nor am I, now.
It is very hard.
Rosamond,
You're addressing
No.
your mother, not the committee of the
Everyone
Women's
knows.
Institute.
I'm afraid
At
you've
this
read
table.
somewhere that rudeness in old age is amusing, which is quite wrong, you know?
It's about the child, isn't it?
Oh.
It is the secret you share.
You must leave us alone. You don't stop coming.
God,
You'll
how
never
the
give up the
truth.
farm. You move away. Those customs and ceremonies that people think are the soul of England were almost all invented by the Victorians.
Quite right.
The truth is they're well suited, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And I don't believe he's faking his interest in medicine.
I'm afraid I agree with you.
Thank you.
I miss you a lot.
I've loved you, you know. Could have loved you more if you'd let me.
Aww.
But I wish we'd met before you ever knew them.
Hi, Miss Bunting. You make things interesting. I really liked you. Find you a true revolutionary. I think if he didn't have Sibby, he'd roll the dice. But, you have a child, it changes things.
He's not a Russian. Nikolai, you're not a...
No, he's not Russian now, but
They were not Russian then.
I think he said we're not Russian because we're Jewish.
how did he know?
Welcome to anti-Semitism,
Give you
bro.
dinner when you're in London.
I might. I wasn't expecting you.
Ditto.
I happily was expecting you both.
Why?
What is your scheme? You seem to suggest I should take the discarded leavings of Lady Mary Crawley, dust off the fluff, and put them on my own plate. That's not what Charles
I wouldn't
meant,
want to do that.
isn't it? Good. What a relief. Now we won't have to quarrel.
Mabel, you're in love with Tony Gillingham. You know.
Still?
I'm going.
Well, what should we do with your food?
Eat it, and I hope it chokes you.
I don't blame her.
There are schools that will take children from any age. We'll find one in France where she'll be properly looked after. I dare say you can even visit, as long as you never reveal who you are. It'll be
This is not getting better.
manageable.
I found a cottage in Horton-le-Skerne, and I'm going to see it on Tuesday. It's £300, so it's a big decision.
I thought you wanted to be in the market to increase your capital.
Well, I'll rent it now, and then later I thought I might take in some lodgers. It's got 3 bedrooms.
What are you doing, Mr. Bricker? Get out of her room.
It's not your maid.
You must leave.
No.
You must leave.
I hope I didn't wake you. No, not at all, my lord. Miss Baxter.
You must leave now.
Her ladyship will still be awake.
Mr. Bricker, I've asked you twice now. Will you please go?
You said yourself. I'll
Bro.
be back.
Mr. Bricker.
Don't pretend, Cora. You know something's happened between us.
No.
You know things have changed now.
None of this is any reason.
I'm glad you're still awake.
You can't be surprised. When you chose to ignore a woman like Cora, you must have known not every man would be as blind as you.
There we go. Okay, you got one in. Let it go.
I'm so sorry, darling. Your father and I just playing a stupid game, and we knocked over a lamp.
Oh, if you're sure.
I'm sure, Puppet. God, what a night.
I'll sleep in my dressing room.
She didn't do anything. He came into her room,
Not a problem.
and she
Breakfast
rebuffed
and lunch
him.
won't be time for more than a cup of tea later.
Mrs. Bates, have you heard any more from that policeman?
No. Here we go. That's Lady Mary.
I don't think we're going to be seeing you again.
Granny, if I was to take her to London...
Oh, don't be ridiculous, my darling. Think.
All I'm saying is there must be another way.
How can there be?
Mrs. Reginald Crawley and the Lord Merton.
Cousin Isabel. Be careful, Lord Merton will have you on the operating table before you can say
Will you quit it?
That Lady Ingrid's pearls, I was so jealous I went to snatch them off her throat.
And you're back at your books, I see.
I'm not giving up, you know. I don't think I will.
And I wouldn't want you to. Right, I'm going up. Don't forget the light.
I wanted to make a private call.
And you thought you'd use Mr. Carson's phone.
I don't think he'd mind, do you?
I'm sure he wouldn't. Well, I'll leave you to it. Good night, my lady.
Good night.
What are you going to do, Edith? I don't really know what her play is. How do you even get her away from the Drews? Like, that's their kid for all intents and purposes right now. I think your best shot would just be tell Miss Drew, like, hey, she's actually my child, and I'm not going to get tired of her. Please let me visit her and give her what I can. I don't know, she may have burned that bridge too much, but I mean, just sending her off to boarding school that you get to visit occasionally, I don't know if that's going to be easy either, but I don't know what that phone call was about. I'm sad about Miss Bunting. I understand that maybe it could never be, because I don't think Tom can ever completely remove himself from the Crawley family, specifically because of his child, who is a Crowley, whether, you know, I mean, it's just true. And he is still bridging those two worlds, and Miss Bunting is not willing to. In some ways, that makes her braver than all of us, you know, people that are truly principled in a way that they can't make nice. I respect because it's honestly a harder stance, and she'll find someone who can be that principled with her. I think that could have been Tom, but not now. He's just different. Maybe when Sibby's all grown up. But I'm sure she'll find someone before then. But I really liked her. And even though Daisy can't continue her studies with her, Daisy is continuing on her own, which was great to see. And I love Daisy sticking up for her and telling Tom the truth. Whether the people in Downton want to believe it or not, that this way of living is on the way out. So I'm glad that Tom at least got to tell her goodbye, and that Daisy is taking what she learned from her with her continuing on. And I love that Miss Patmore is supportive of that, and she got that inheritance and is using it in a way that best suits her and not just what Mr. Carson thinks is best, even though he just heard what to do secondhand and was like, oh, well, this was my bright idea. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about either. I'm glad Mrs. Hughes helped her with that. Mr. Bricker, oh my goodness. If you were going to try something, don't come in her room late at night. And you got punched, which is, deserved. And I hope Lord Grantham doesn't hold it over Cora. She didn't do anything wrong. And like I've said before, he has no fucking room to talk. I do see the ways that Lord Grantham has, accepted change. It's not easy, and he doesn't do it willingly, but it's inevitable, and they have rolled with the punches as much as they can. But it's really fun to see how that works inside of an economy inside of Downton, how the machinations of what happens there is slowly changing, slowly breaking down. Like there, they just didn't have that dinner, which was what they were expecting to have. It's just things are changing. Rose met that guy. She seemed to really like him, and she got a brush of anti-Semitism from that prince, which was awful. And I don't know if we're gonna continue to follow him and his princess. I don't really care to. If the Dowager is still gonna be doing stuff for them. And she cannot let go of Isabel and what place she has envisioned Isabel in for forever. If Isabel is going to stay with Lord Murden, then she will have a different status. It doesn't change the relationship, but someone like the Dowager who is just entrenched in their traditions, this is hard for her to deal with. But I don't know, Isabel seems to really like him, and he seems sweet, so good for her, and I hope they work out. Mary had dinner with Mr. Blake. I don't know why he, did he really think that, I don't remember her name, but Lord Gilliam's previous betrothed, did he really think she was going to be like, yeah, I'll take those sloppy seconds? And yeah, I want to have dinner with the person he picked over me. What was that? I don't know. But he seemed to think it was a necessary move, and I don't know what happens next there. Thomas, I still he needs to stay out of the Bates' business, but he can't fucking help himself. He better not cause trouble. But also at the same time, it's so frustrating. He better stay out of their shit. But also, I feel terrible for what he's putting himself through, and he needs to stop. Mrs. Baxter is trying to help him. But, I don't know what it's going to take. Everyone's noticing, though. I mean, he looks terrible. So, yeah. really sad about Miss Bunting. Worried for Thomas. Worried for the Bates. Mr. Bricker. I can't believe you did that. I mean, I feel terrible for Edith, but it's a situation. They're not making this easy. Is it really worth all of this heartache to keep up appearances? I mean, things are changing. Let's be a part of that change and have your bastard child be a part of your family and stop having to like maneuver her around just to be a part of her life. Just claim her. Terrible. But yeah, this was a good episode. I feel bad. I'm gonna miss Miss Bunting. I wish they could have found a way to make it work, but I think Tom will take something from this. Like he said, she has reawakened his true nature, and maybe he can find someone a little bit more in the middle where he finds himself these days. But not let him like lose that fundamental nature of himself again. So I'm excited for that, even though it didn't work out for them. But yeah, good episode. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back soon.